My name is Emiliano De Laurentiis, and this is Brainwaves, the Knowledge Avatar Experience. Knowledge avatars are digital personas that are reshaping how we learn, share, and interact with knowledge. In each episode, we're going to uncover how innovators are using knowledge avatars to accelerate their personal and professional growth. I hope you enjoy the show. Hi there. My guest today is Don Wilson. Don is the president and founder of Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse. Hi, Don. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing today, Emiliano?
Very well, thank you. We see some spring in the air. I don't know what in
I know.
Connecticut, but
I'm in Connecticut here, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and it's a beautiful day outside. It's about 43 degrees, and a little bit of sun is out. Last couple of weeks have been frigid cold, and we've gotten a bunch of snow, so it's quite a welcoming sight to get a little break. Yes.
well, I see the vultures are returning. So the vultures are migratory birds. So when
Yeah,
they're returning, it means it's getting warm. So they're the first ones back.
first one. Oh, good to know. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Don, tell me about Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse and what is it and what? Give me a little bit of background on how it came about.
So Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse is a unique sports mentoring leadership organization that is preparing youth here, inner city youth, underserved youth here in the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut, for a future in higher education, for a future in the trades and career pathways. So we're serving our youth in a number of a variety of ways, just to inspire them, to empower them, to create great citizens of this world, and to give kids a great roadmap to success.
And how did you start it? And how long ago did you start this, Don?
So that's a great question because I knew nothing about lacrosse when we first started this, Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse. And so my son was attending private school in Greenwich, Connecticut, Brunswick School, which is a really elite school. And we live here in the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut, where the discrepancies are huge, right? The
Mhm.
discrepancies are huge. We're in a city program where annual income is about maybe $45,000, and we're in Greenwich, it's like you got your hedge funds and
Yeah.
your capitalists down in that side. So me always wanting the best for our children, sought out this opportunity to send him to this great school, and within that he started to play lacrosse. And for me, I knew nothing about lacrosse, and I was like, what is this? And
Yeah.
started to do some research and found out that Jim Brown, one of the greatest football player ever at Syracuse, also played lacrosse.
Right.
Also found out that it was a Native American sports. So a lot of people think it's just this suburb elite sport, but it was actually known as the creator's game. And sometimes it's also called that. It's also called the medicine game, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what drew me to the sport, in terms of non-traditional. Here in the city where I live is football, basketball, soccer. So the non-traditional sports were something that really inspired me because my son fell in love with it, and I wanted to introduce it to the community here in Bridgeport,
Yeah.
Connecticut. And we were very successful with that, introducing it to a great group of kids, had some great success. And 17 years later, we're still here inspiring greatness in our community.
Fantastic. Now, did you have to introduce the idea of lacrosse to this population, or because if you didn't know it, they probably didn't know it either, right?
Yeah, so it was brand new. So it's kind of like a pioneering thing. It's kind of like I saw it as a niche because I coach, I ran track, I played football, played basketball,
Yeah.
played some soccer. But I was like, how can I inspire others to think outside the box, right? Think outside the box. And so that's how we got it. That's how I got into
So,
lacrosse.
so how are you doing? How are you using lacrosse? Are you mixing it in with other subjects? What is the curriculum like?
So lacrosse, there is a curriculum from US Lacrosse that is a teaching module that has week
Uh,
one, step by step, how to introduce kids to it and how to run a program. So we did that. And then we also added some wraparound services for our youth. So in terms of after school programs, in terms of mentoring instead of tutoring, and career pathways. We are now teaching these kids how to be coaches and referees at the same time they're learning the game, and which that enhances their knowledge of the game. So if you're playing the game and you're also learning the rules, the regulations of the game, it kind of heightens your abilities because you know what to expect when you're on the field.
I guess my question also is about: are you mixing this up with the STEAM and STEM
Oh yes,
programs?
oh yes. So
Yeah,
um, over the last coming out of COVID 2019, we had to do some self reflection as to where the program was going to go and how we were going to inspire our youth, knowing that for 2 years they were under lockdown and inside the house playing video games and using technology to go to school and receive their classes and stuff like that. So I'll just give you a little quick background about my
yeah.
introduction to technology and everything. I went to a high school that provided science and technology. So I was writing basic coding in high school, which was Basic, Fortran, Pascal. Those are passe languages now, but those
Yeah.
were languages that I learned to code with. And so technology was always a part of my life. And so when COVID hit and we had to, you know, um, kind of shift um, modes. I was reached out to by the Sacred Heart Discovery Planetarium Museum,
Uh,
and they were doing immersive um, program where kids were gonna sit on their computers and they were gonna travel to Mars and they were gonna do some interactive coding and stuff like that. So that introduction there re-sparked my interest in technology and in meeting students where they are. So out of that, we started an esports program, and that was our first iteration because now we see kids are into technology. Esports was the new is coming out to be the new thing where there's college scholarships attached to that and
really?
the career pathways that are also attached to that. There's also competitions that pay up to $1 million.
Uh,
Um,
so
uh,
please explain to me a little bit more. I'm not familiar with the esports. Of course, I've heard it. I've heard
yes,
about it, but I don't know. I've never played it myself. So what
yes,
happens in esport? Do people
yes.
play online, or are they betting, or all of
So
the above? I mean, I don't
yeah.
know.
So obviously, there's some betting now, and it's become very, very lucrative as a business. But the premise of esports is just online gaming,
Yeah,
right? So I could be playing against someone that's in China right now, and we're virtually communicating. So it's social emotional as well because
yeah.
you're online gaming,
But you're
and
playing against people. You're playing against people who are online. You're not. Okay, you're not following some professional sport.
well, no, you're not following a professional sport. You're actually playing against another live person.
I got you. Okay.
So whether it's Rocket League, whether it's now the EA Sports is all on there. So now whether it's basketball or whatever you want to play, um, Smash Bros as a group or individual play. Now these kids are playing against each other, and there's really high level competition. Like I mentioned, Kids are winning up to $1 million trophy prizes right now.
Oh,
Um,
amazing. Yeah.
it's amazing, and to learn that there's college scholarship attached to this now. A lot of the colleges around now are implementing esports,
Sports.
and providing scholarships for students to come to their schools and play. I was blown away last year when I went to a competition at Quinnipiac University for high school students.
Uh-huh.
So that's what really sparked my interest in growing esports within our organization, knowing
Yeah.
that kids can go to college playing video games. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Who
I know it is. I'll have to
would
try
have
it out.
thought about that?
I may go back to school. So
You know?
they're playing. They're like just like a regular video game. They have a character on the screen that they
Yeah.
manipulate.
Yes. And
Oh,
so
okay.
and within that, the competition between school, it has become a real scholastic sports within the school, within the
Yeah.
offering of the school sports program. So now esports is one of the offering, similar to lacrosse, similar to flag football or anything. But one of the main thing I want to stress about sports and esports is it's a unifier, right? So
Mm-hmm.
think about data analytics, right? So
Yeah.
every football game, you see these blue computers on the sidelines, and someone is giving data to these elite football players, right? What if,
Mm-hmm.
how my brain works, what if we take a kid in a wheelchair, right, and we teach him how to collect the data, and now him and this superstar athlete has this personal relationship where it's the kid in the wheelchair telling this superstar athlete his data, how to be a better athlete. What could be
Right.
better?
Right.
And
Oh,
that
exactly.
and that's what technology does. That's what this technology does. So I'm
It's
all in.
fascinating.
It's
It's kind of
fascinating.
liberating. It's liberating the person, liberating the student.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
connect that, that kid that could never see himself playing, could see himself now as a part of a team, as a
Yeah.
part of a professional team, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
good stuff. This is amazing. So I'm excited
Must
about the future of what we're bringing to our youth.
must be very motivating. Yeah.
Yeah,
By
it's
by the way, a little not known fact is that lacrosse is the official game, you believe it or not, of Canada.
yes.
It's not. It's not hockey.
No,
It's lacrosse.
it's lacrosse.
That's
It's
right.
so
Yeah.
USA and Canada have these huge rivalries. Who's the best lacrosse,
Oh,
and
really?
it's the same thing with hockey. Who's the best hockey? Who's the best lacrosse? But there's a little country or a little sovereign nation right in the middle up there somewhere called which is the Iroquois nation,
And then, oh, right.
which is the
And,
Iroquois nation, right? So there's a
yeah.
little
And they.
nation of lacrosse players that are still indigenous. That is a disruptor in there somehow.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
like to see some of their games. It would be fascinating.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
beautiful stuff. Like you got the natives, you got the traditional owners of the game. And I just want to just this one little tidbit too. So I mentioned before how it's also known as the medicine game. So
Uh-huh.
within that, it's the harder you play, the better you feel. So I use lacrosse as a healing here in the
Uh-huh.
city for our youth that suffer from trauma, the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. I use lacrosse to heal these youth on the field because I tell them the harder you play, the better you'll feel. And sometimes these kids come off the field and they're wiped out, they're exhausted, but they're like,
Oh, yeah.
love it, I love it, I love it. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, years ago, I was on the board of an organization that taught autistic children and also adults how to ride horses.
Yeah,
And I was a horse rider. I used to ride horses as well. And
yeah,
when you involve people in something physical and that requires some of a challenge, it's amazing how they can surpass their physical, but also their
yeah.
mental health, which
And
we
that's
all
what
have to some
and
degree.
yeah, and that's what we want as an organization. I strive to be inclusive in our design. I strive
Yeah.
for that. right? So we could customize a program for a kid that has delayed developmental challenges. Our track program, our track coaches, we could teach kids how to do fine motor skill, how to their motor skills, just to engage them, right? You
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah,
on the field and you're like, well, they're just here for an activity. They're not here for the game. They're just here for an activity to get out the house, and they're just here to learn some
yeah,
tactile skills or something like that.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. So we met a few years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not quite two, maybe a year and a half. I can't
Yes. Yes.
remember. And we talked, and I introduced you to AI, or no, maybe not for the first time, but
Yes.
certainly to our AI, knowledge avatars, and we've been talking about that lately, and we've done a number of different events, seminars, and so forth. So tell me, what are you hoping to do with knowledge avatars, and how do you see it helping your mission?
So now, knowledge avatar has been a godsend, and I thank you for coming along when you came along because my brain works crazy. And when I was introduced to you, and the first iteration when we talked was, hey, can we build a stadium, drop athlete in the stadium, teach him what he needs to learn, and then he could transcribe that back onto the field. That sparked my interest, and so out of that, we've been talking the last couple of years of how do we integrate AI and especially knowledge avatar into our organization here in Bridgeport, and it's coming together quite nicely. Quite nicely, as you mentioned. Um, I will be building a bot that we will be programming to be the Don bot that will
Yeah.
be my personal assistant and could be something that we put on the website that could speak to visitors on our website when I'm not physically there, right?
And as we know, you're extremely busy, so that certainly will help.
Yes,
There's all, and I think the other thing that we talked about recently I like a lot is the idea that every teacher has their own assistant, their own bot, but
yeah,
also every student, and that's
yeah.
something that you introduced to the whole project. The idea that every student will have their own bot. How do you see that working?
Well, we did this event. It's amazing. This is 2 years we've done this amazing event called Sports and Education Summit. And we bring teachers in and we bring athletes into a local college and we kind of present a roadmap to success to them. And last year we introduced AI to them and it sparked their interest. And I saw that and I was like, oh, they're really interested in this. And then you and I had some conversation and all right, we could build a bot for the teachers first, right? So the teachers will have a bot. But then how do we introduce students to this, right? And how can students use this as their personal assistant? So teaching coding. These kids will be learning coding,
Yeah,
how to upload information into their personal bots, their personal assistants. They will be doing that. And so within the last 6 months, we have designed a program that we're going to roll out here in the city of Bridgeport, and it's going to be revolutionary. It's going to be the first of its kind here in the city, and I'm excited about that. If you would like to talk about that a little bit more.
yeah, I think it is going to be exciting. I think one thing that many of our listeners may not be quite aware of yet is that with knowledge avatars, every bot can have the knowledge of the person creating the bot.
Yes.
So it could be your bot with
It's-
your knowledge, my bot with my knowledge. In fact,
yes.
I have a bot with my knowledge. I call it Emiliano Prime, and
Right. Yeah.
and I'm just getting some new business cards. And there's a QR code that takes people to my bot. So if they want to ask a question, they could just go there and ask
Does,
Emiliano
does
Prime
your bot
the
look like
question.
you?
Not yet. We're working on that part of it. We're working on that part. It will. And in fact, Amazon is involved with us, and they've made some investments with us, and they
Yes.
are going to. And we have a proof of concept, and
Okay.
this sometime this year we'll
Yeah.
have the ability to make a bot look like us. like the creator, and
Like,
also eventually sound like us too. And
wow,
that's going to be an important element. And
that
so,
that was
but the important thing is that teachers will be able to have a bot that isn't just some bot from some generic bot from some corporation, but it's a bot that is their information that teaches the way they want to teach with their content,
yeah,
and then the kids, the students can have their own bot, and they could program it too, right? They can train it. I should say program. They're not
Ukraine.
programming. They're training it, and they train it with their own content. It could be whatever. It could be
Yeah.
it's their bot. They can do whatever they want with it.
This is
And
going to be amazing for these kids, especially from an inner city standpoint, right?
yeah,
Technology sometimes jumps over certain places, but I'm intentional. We've been intentional about bringing this to the school system. I work here in the city of Bridgeport with the Bridgeport Board of Education, and we are bringing this forefront to the school and to be implemented. Um, citywide here in the
yeah.
city of Port.
I'm
So
excited about it. How
yeah,
how many students are in your district?
there's over 19,000 students in our district.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to everybody having their own knowledge avatar bot
yeah.
to train and program. It's and we try to make it as easy as possible for people to train their bots, and that is what I'm hoping we can bring this to the whole school district.
And I'm excited that we're working with Knowledge Avatar because from what I've seen so far, it's very easy, user friendly, right? And maybe it's just because we have this relationship together. You have always been accessible and knowledgeable to be able to help us troubleshoot through anything that we're going through. So the sky's
Yeah,
the limit, and I'm looking forward to continue to see 19,000 plus
yeah,
students
yeah.
with their own personal
Yeah, and I
assistant.
understand. I understand you want to expand your program as well. You're expanding it to Jamaica, perhaps. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes. So that's the next iteration. That's about 5 years down the road. We're building that infrastructure right now through sports again. Sports is that unifier. Kids want to play sports.
yeah, yeah,
Technology now is becoming that unifier as well because of these avenues that these kids could
yeah,
access AI, access esports, access these career pathways, and social emotional learning tools as well. So, um, good stuff,
yeah,
man. Good
yeah.
stuff.
Now we talk. Yeah, I know esports is like a video game. Have you looked into using VR as well, virtual reality?
That's gonna be another phase. We know it's out there, and we know kids are
Yeah,
using it. The technology that's gonna be that's the. I'm not sure how much those individual
yeah. They're
screens cost.
expensive. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so that's
mean,
why we haven't gone down that road yet.
yeah. I mean, we have. I mean, we've experimented with a few things. We had. There was a system that Hubs with the company. Can't remember the name of the company. Anyways, it's no longer available. But there's a technology where you can have VR on the screen. So it's not quite VR.
Yeah,
You're navigating on the screen, but you don't
yeah,
have goggles. And then of course.
okay,
Then of course you have Meta they have their goggles, and
yeah,
then Apple just released their expensive goggles.
yeah.
But I understand they're going to be coming up with a less expensive version. So, but yeah, it's an interesting perspective. But just for the record, we have experimented with knowledge avatars in VR, and
Okay,
we have a path a developmental path to put knowledge avatars in VR. So basically, if somebody we could have a coach, let's say, if you
yeah.
want to teach people lacrosse in VR, the coach can be a knowledge avatar AI, and
Really,
then
we got to
yeah,
talk. So even
it could
with
be a lot of fun.
soccer, even with
Yeah,
soccer
yeah,
or basketball or any
yeah.
other sport, could have a
In
virtual
fact,
coach in there with the
in fact,
VR.
yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah. So
this
I
is
just
what
wanted to say though that there's another group that I met a few years ago, trying to do something similar to you with rugby, not
okay,
lacrosse, but with rugby.
yeah,
But they didn't get off the ground yet. They're still
okay,
working on it. but you actually did it, and that is great. It's a great thing that you actually did it. You have students in your program, and
Yeah.
I think that it's great. I'm looking forward to getting feedback about how Knowledge Avatars is helping these students, and certainly improving the product as we go along, because
Yeah.
we're always iterating. We're always
Yeah.
getting it, trying to
Yeah.
make it better.
It's just been a beautiful experience for our students and for me, bringing out that technology part of my life that I kind of had suppressed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just sparked. It's just reinvigorated me, and now I get to um, lean in with my students as well. So this is a great inflection point for me, and being intentional about this process is really really exciting.
Great, great. Well, before we go, before we end this conversation, which is it's always too short, but I'm glad that we have. It's better. It's better that people
Short
want
and
more,
sweet.
right?
Short and
But
sweet.
it's also good. It's always good for people to want more.
Yeah.
How can people get in touch with you, Don?
So
If people are interested in your program, they want to learn more, maybe get their help and start your own, perhaps.
yeah,
What,
we're always looking for volunteers. So if you're technology based, if you want to support us in any kind of way, we are Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse .org. Um, we also, our phone number is 203-273-6084 if you'd like to connect with us, or you could send us an email at info@bridgeportyouth.lacrosse.org.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah,
thank you very much, Don, for being with me today, and we will be talking again very soon, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Thank you. Have a great
thanks
day.
for this. This has been Brainwaves, the Knowledge Avatar Experience. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to follow us, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends. Leave us a review so that more people can find us. Until next time.